Elif, I can't wait for you to share. I open my heart, my soul, everything to hear what you have to share, and I'm sure I'm going to get an amazing revelation. Thank you, Elif.
Oh,
The
thank
microphone is
you.
yours.
Thank you. Well, um, good morning to you, good afternoon, or good evening to everybody, whoever is wherever they are. What I want to say that you are exactly where you're supposed to be right now at this moment. I know Carmen felt like she had to apologize, but I don't think there was any need, because I believe in things like this. So we are in exactly where we're supposed to be, and we're living. No, we're not an inch further or behind, or a day ahead or behind. So we are just living where exactly where we need to be and experience that. And as human beings, we're always on a journey, and I have been on a journey. My life in the world hasn't been that long. As you can see, I'm only 37 years old. I live in the UK, and I came here as an au pair only 13 years ago. And when I got to this country, I couldn't actually speak a word of English. I found it really difficult to actually integrate with the culture, because not just only being able to speak the language, but also speaking in the cultural language was something else for me to translate my feelings. And I was already that warrior girl inside me that I was kind of running away from. um, and I didn't, until very recently, um, in fact until I become a mother myself, I wasn't that honest to myself. So I just realized that everything I was running away was actually within me. So I had to find that little girl that who has been through a sexual abuse as a little girl, and I had to sit down with her in that dark room that I kept pushing and shoving everything and staying silent. And through my fashion business, I got to meet so many women, and they were so brave. They were so brave to tell what had happened to them. And I was empowered by their stories. And that's what gave me the courage to decide to share mine. Not because I thought that was, I'm sure there was quite a lot of people in my life that thought that I just shared these just to get an attention, perhaps. But I'm sharing my story to help other victims of abuse, hoping that even with all its terrible details, I know it will help them move on just like I have. I want to reach out to those survivors and those victims, and I want them to know that these things happen, but that it doesn't mean that you have to define yourself by your past. I just want to invite them to be happy, because you are worthy of it. And all my time, it's just been a real shock to my body. I was just trying to find myself, and subconsciously I was running away from something that I never even spoken to myself out loud. And one day, after becoming a mother, almost that was just that warrior feeling of giving birth, I think, has given me my voice. And I thought, I'm not going to allow any other child to go through this, because I was very young, and this is still happening. And I'm 37, and that happened to me when I was 8. It still makes me emotional today, because it's just not fair. So I thought, we shouldn't be quiet about this. The silence, the quiet, the more quiet you stay, the more you keep quiet about the whole thing. and those abusers will continue doing that. I've noticed a lot of the people, women, I connected and resonated with, who have been through the similar things. And I thought, we have to stop this. And the only way to do that, by talking about it, and not in a kind of normalized way, in a way that our children should be able to talk about these. If anything in that level happens to them, they should be able to say, mummy, daddy, auntie, uncle, someone in the family, they should trust that what's happened to them is not their fault. I've lived my entire life thinking that was my fault, but it wasn't my fault. I lived in a shame, and I didn't want to talk about it because I thought, if I talk about this, I'm going to be bringing shame to my family. I'll be this woman no man would want to get married. I will bring shame to my unborn children, and nobody would want to be friend with me. But I didn't realize a lot of my closest friends had actually experienced the similar things. So but the sad thing about my story, Carmen, was that I come from Turkey. It's a Muslim upbringing I had, and everything was in contradiction. So I was confused. The confusion of being through what I had been through number of times, but what was culture looking like living, it just wasn't doing up for me. So the only way I could find that, I just kept thinking, if I find my financial freedom, I can then speak up for myself. So that's how I felt. So my journey started to find my financial freedom, not because I wanted to come in the UK and become a fashion designer here or anywhere. This was my childhood dream, but I never actually thought I would do it. But somehow we live what we feel like we need to live. And I came here as an au pair. I thought, if I learn English, I can go back to my country, get a better job. I'll be more respectable, in a respectable position, earn more money. By having my financial independence and freedom, I'll have a stronger voice. I could hire a lawyer if I had to. These are my thought process. But what happened is, life is full of opportunities, aren't they? Yeah. There's always opportunities there, and the things happened. I met my first husband. We had a great relationship, but that didn't work out. I was like, okay, never mind. But then but I was always in struggle with my family, and I always kept deep down blaming them for everything that I had been through. But I just wanted to keep quiet, so kept being away. So I stayed here because I found confidence here. I could see that women had voice. But if you ask the people who are local here, they might say something completely opposite. But to me, I belonged here. So I felt home when I was here. And so I started my fashion journey. I had shared these with you last time when we spoke. It was an accident in a way, because again, I didn't have any money. I had no money. So I had to work, and the only thing I knew was sewing, because as a little girl, when my mom was a dressmaker, and we used to make our clothes, and every time when there was some cloth left over, I would make some clothes for my dolls, and all those designs and everything that I made were usually the clothes that I wasn't allowed to wear. So I was creating these clothes for the dolls that I would idolize. And now I feel a sense of responsibility, because now I become that woman that I admired as a little girl. So
Yes.
this is my mission, to help women who feel stuck in their past. Their story may be completely different.
That's right.
Their story nowhere near this, but there's no bad or wrong, worse or less. We know our pains is we all heal in different level, and you as a professional know this. We have different fixing,
That's
you know.
yes.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain because it's not my profession, but
you're doing it beautiful. You're doing in a language that everybody understands, the language of the heart. Go ahead.
So I just feel that if someone's going through these, ask for help. Ask for help, because asking for help is not a weakness. It will empower you, and you will end up inspiring others. And if you knew how much your story can open doors just for somebody else, is phenomenal. I mean, I remember when I actually did a short video clip of my this part of my life, and how I just moved on from feeling stuck and back in my past, and I kept questioning, and I just kept thinking, well, this is all I deserve. This is all I deserve, because everything was happening. Like, I got married, I got divorced, sadness, fallout with family, and then I got married. I was going to have a baby, then my dad died, and that was just the time after that I made it up with them. You know, I had given up, and I had that chat with that little girl inside me, and I had forgiven her and everybody else that was there in that room, that in my head. But I thought, okay, the life is against me now. I'm gonna lose it. This is it. I don't deserve it. So I'm sure a lot of you going through, we all go through divorce, death, cancer, abuse. There is so much that happening in our lives. But what you need to do is you need to allow yourself to heal from it, because you can. And how can I explain? The change starts in the darkest point of your life. That's what happened to me. In my darkest moments, that I made the decisions for better for myself. Let it be personal life, let it be business. I mean, I left my country because it's another summit, I tell you. It's such a long story, but when I left Istanbul, I was only there for a year and working for a textile industry as a manufacturer. And I arrived to Istanbul. I didn't have any money. I just had a few hundred Turkish lira, and I went to stay at my high school friend's flat. And the plan was to get a job, and we were both going to rent this flat somewhere near, in between like two towns, so we can both go either side, and I was going to live happily ever after. But 3 weeks into my my time in Istanbul, we were burgled.
Oh wow.
It's like, oh my goodness, why? I mean, you just think. And it was the time that I really had fallen out with my family, and the anger in me was coming out of different forms. I was having fight about why my mom changed my tree in my room. I was having fight with my dad why he did say that, but it wasn't anything to do with it. It was something to do much deeper than that. So I came to Istanbul and I had all that. I split up with my boyfriend, lost all my money. So I thought, I need to do something else. So that darkest moment made me decide to come to the UK. And it's just like that darkest moment of not having money and having the pride of not wanting to ask anyone for it made me start my own business. So if you're in that darkest moment in your life, just keep going, because then there will be light. You know, when you're in pitch dark and there will be tiniest light in the distance, but will lit the whole room. That's exactly how life, and try to find that light, because it will change your life. On that note, I will leave the stage to you.
Yes, it's so beautiful what you say, because I can see a lady here. I can see a little girl that she grew up with a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, a lot of sin that she did not understand why this is happening to me. And she brought the hurt into her early adulthood. However, in one point, she said, in her darkest hour, she said, forgiveness. She forgive herself, the little girl. She forgive the people that around her that hurt her. And there's something that I love that you say, because it's one of the emphasis that I give to the ladies when I work in the emotional part, because they don't realize that when you don't forgive and release, because you can forgive, but yet carry in your mind, so you're thinking about it every day. No, forgive and release. You're doing the favor not to those people, you're doing it to yourself, because you're releasing yourself free from that. And yes, like you say, you get emotional. Of course, was your life, your body, and you wish that didn't happen. However, instead of bring you and pull you down, empowers you. Because this is who you are today. You took your pain, your disappointments, and you use it to better yourself. And I applaud you, because I know how many women, that's my heart, you're speaking my heart. And that's what I do in things like this, because it's so many women that they have broken marriages and they think that it's the end of their life. They feel terrible because of that. Okay, I believe that when you marry for your whole life, but sometimes things happen, doesn't work. And what are you going to do? Destroy your life? No, for the contrary, pick up what you have, whatever pieces, to create a new person and restore your life. So I can see how much you did in your life, how much it's not even improving, because you created a new Elif, is a new person, this beautiful person that you enrich. You don't realize, I don't know if you realize this, but when you talk, it's something that you release, a calm, a trust. I can trust you. Yes, if you share that you went through, but now you are over. Look at you now. I can do it too. And that is the message that I wanted to hear from people, to empower. But I want to ask you a question, and I love if you can talk a little bit. I know your story, and that's why it's so beautiful. Okay, people know you like the fashion designer, award-winning fashion designer, that you do a lot. You are on television, you are in the radio, you are in everywhere. But I want to, even in a brief few minutes, if you can share with the people here how you started, because I know you didn't start as a fashion designer.
No.
It's so, because I believe in small beginnings and never give up. So if you can share that, that will be empowering to women.
Okay, of course,
Thank
I would
you.
be happy. Yes. Well, when like I said, I came here with not much money. I was an au pair working for only £60 a week. Of course, I was living with the family that I didn't have to pay rent and food. They always looked after me very generously. I would never forget their kind of hospitality. But it was, I had no I had no liberty, you know. So I started, first of all, I started working in a cafe as a waitress to earn some money so I could start living outside the family. And I left being an au pair. And when I arrived to the UK, because I didn't have much money and I just was, I am a productive girl. I don't like sitting still. And a lot of my friends who know me so well. I just couldn't just sit. I have to either work in my head or it would have to be doing, cooking, tidying up and sorting things out. I'm a sorter and doer. So I was working as a little alteration girl in a shop on my village. And this woman, her name was Jo, she decided to move to France, and she asked me if I would take on some of her alteration customers when she's gone. I thought, why not? Extra few pounds wouldn't hurt me, you know. So I started my alteration business as a mobile service, and I printed some business cards from an ordinary printer, chopped them up with scissors, and walked around the households in the neighborhood and just started getting phone calls. So I was so busy. I was going around the houses, picking them up and bringing them home, doing them after work. I was actually working in a cafe. So I had like hours of working days, but I was young. I had so much energy, and I didn't know I had a bigger mission back then. So that was my starting point. So I was stitching through my dreams that I didn't realize. It was my way of starting. So I started my alteration business, and it got so busy I couldn't take enough orders because some of the houses were too far from each other. So I decided to buy myself a little bike from a car boot sale for £10. That was my business asset. And even my first sewing machine was actually given to me by a local woman who knew me through the shop that I used to work for. Said, I've got this sewing machine, I'm going to throw it away. Do you want it? So my first sewing machine was out of a tip, and and my transport was a bike picked up from a car boot sale. And I just worked so hard, and I opened my first shop through my networking. Again, I was just me. I was talking to people, I was helping them. I was always present, I would say. I was always present and not really stuck in my own thing. And if I was with someone, I was so with them. And so that made a very strong relationships. So I have got good relationships through that part of me. I don't know, it just naturally comes. And so I started my alteration business in this tiny little kiosk. 3 years into that, I opened my boutique, and the rest is history.
Wow. So beautiful, so beautiful. We're living in a generation today that we want everything fast. We want to be multimillionaires in 2 weeks. Some people can do it. I don't know, I don't have doubts. I don't think it's the many, but it's not about that. Life is a journey. And
Yes, and it's not about money. I agree with you. I find it quite annoying in a very strong way, because it's not about money. The first 5 years of my business, I invested in people.
Yeah.
I made friends, I created trust, I put up events. I've been organizing events all my entrepreneurial life. But I created this trust. My first, for instance, I designed clothes for a theater production, and they approached me through someone I knew, and I did it for almost nothing, because I just wanted the job. I wanted the experience. It's not about money always.
Right.
The experience you get from doing such things is invaluable. And 3 years down the line, those people created a stage show just for me, and we were on newspapers. We were a sellout. West End Singers was on a stage for my show, and this girl came to this country with a small suitcase, broken heart, and £200. You know, it's just, so it doesn't happen that fast, and it doesn't mean having lots of money you're going to have happiness. It's about being full. It's being full in your heart. You know, it still matter if I had a huge house, mansion with swimming pool, and no friend to share. What's the point?
That's right. That's right. So well said, so beautiful, because you enrich here with that 20-minute share. You talk about her, don't define you. You created a new person. You give hope to those ladies that after so much pain, they feel so destroyed, they feel with such a low self-esteem, and they don't know what they want to do. Sometimes they have to change their lifestyle. They have to leave behind sins or family or friends. It's a complete change. Like you have, you even change country. And that's what I say. Sometimes you do have, I change countries. Okay, different reasons why we come to Australia, but I needed to leave behind my family, my friends, for a new beginning here with my husband. But life is like that. If you refuse to go through the journey of life, and we want that instant getting to a place, like you started your business in a bike, which is beautiful, small beginnings, and you was interested in building up friendships, blessing people, just giving what you have in your hands to people. And I believe the life pays back well when your heart is in the right place. Because people are watching you. People are going to give you opportunities, and that's what they happen to you. And that's what I say to the ladies. Listen, no matter what happened to you, no matter what you are today, determine in your heart what you want. Have a dream, have a vision for your life. But then you have to put the work. You have to work until, and it's not that you arrive, because it's so much more for you to do. This is only even if you have successfuls already, but this is the beginning of the greatness scenes that you're going to not only achieve for yourself, how many lives are you going to touch? So just to wrap it up, just one sentence, what do you want to leave to a ladies that went to similar things? Just one sentence.
What I would say, that life is, there is a choice in life. And if you don't make a good choice for yourself, somebody else will make it. So make the most of your own.
Yes.
Because that's your life.
Beautiful, and thank you, because it is true. If you don't make it a plan, how do you want your life to look like? Somebody else will do it for you. And then you will live either somebody else's dream or under the finger of somebody else's. Thank you,
Exactly.
Elif. Thank you for
Thank
the
you for
privilege.
having me.
Thank you. It has been a privilege to having you here. And I know so many people are going to be blessed as the reply is going into
Thank
the
you.
internet. Thank you so much. And we will see you soon.
Thank you. Have a lovely evening. I'll stay for a few minutes and listen to the speakers.
Thank you so much. And thank you. Well, let me say, has been amazing this sharing, because the people who did a course with me, you know that I have a course from her to victory, and it's very dear to my heart. Like Elif, she hit rock bottom and she changed her life. The same was with me. I hit emotional rock bottom. There was very, very dark my life. Even if I was a life coach, there was a time I didn't even know how to help myself, because it's easy to help other people. But when you find yourself in the deep place, it's difficult sometimes because you get too clouded here. However, there was in that deep hole or pit, whatever you want to call it, that I decided how painful was what I was going through. But I remember through my painfulness, I cry out to God and I say, this is difficult. And I start thinking about other women that they are going similar pain, maybe not the same problem, but similar pain. Because when we go through problems, the problem in common that we all have is emotional pain, and we need to be restored. And I remember that I said, need to be restored. And on the way of my restoration, I was easy, was simple. No, I needed to learn myself to find tools on how to restore my life. But I remember I started thinking in other women. I say, oh, there's so many women around the world. They are in pain. They are suffering. I want even to, what I'm doing is good, but I want to learn more, to reach more women in a different way. Because we was used sometimes to hear, to expecting, especially people who work in coaching, expecting sitting in front of you and spill all the beans. What happened to you? What happened to you? Tell me. And sometimes I learned they don't want to open up to you because they're in so much pain. So we needed to find a different way to help those women, because even if they don't want or they can't talk, because sometimes they can because of since they are around her. It's almost they have someone's hands in the mouth that they can talk. How are they going to heal? Well, I'm here to say you can heal no matter how you feel right now today. You just have to learn how. You just have to listen to people like Elif. Listen to the other speakers that will come later, that they all went through something, different things, but they find their own unique way in how to heal. And one thing that I learned, many times we're looking for outside healing, but actually the healing has to come from within. Ourselves, we have to be ready and prepared to heal ourselves, to give permissions to get healed, to let go of the past, let go of the pain, forgive those people, forgive the situation that you went through, and say, you know what? Here I am. From now on, I look into the front, I focus into my future, into my dreams, my visions, and I'm going to create an amazing future for myself. So I encourage you, listen as you receive the reply, listen it again and again, because I know your life can be transformed. And we're going to, I don't know if you notice, we have, after every speaker, we're going to have a couple questions. As an example, is a survey that we're going to ask you, what was your biggest take from what Elif shared with us? There has to be, for me, I have few things that really resonate in my life. I wanted to hear it, and I know Elif would like to hear, what is the biggest take? And the other thing that I thought was, what about fashion? Is fashion empowering for you? Because I remember after I sort of start changing, one of the things that I noticed, my clothing, I didn't like it how I was dressing. I liked it before, but then I neglect myself. I didn't, you know, through my darkest time, I didn't feel like even put a makeup or nothing, no clothes. And I remember one of the changes was my clothing. I needed to find I needed to have color, I needed to have different things to wear. And I thought clothing for me are empowering because you put a good clothes, you look in the mirror, put on your makeup, and you look amazing and you love it, lift up yourself, which we can have later on in time when you have your time to talk just about how clothing can be so empowering. So you can answer. Yes. So thank you so much because it's so much that I take in, so much. And you will receive the comments as we go from other people and as we receiving the replies.